All right, here, take two. Here we go.
I can't help it. My speakers are terrible. This is terrible.
It is.
Oh,
You should fire me.
No, pull it away. God.
Too loud?
Yes.
Is that better?
It's like soft and quiet torture Erling. Those are your 2 volume levels on that song.
Sorry, Erling. Welcome to Everyone Racers, a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture. It doesn't matter what kind of Lemma Champ or Lucky Track Dog League you run, SCC or NASA, we won't discriminate, as long as you drive it hard and built it yourself. Join us each week for tech discussion, tips, tricks, news and notes in the world of amateur endurance racing, and whether it's on the spot, hella sweet, or we're lucky enough and Chrissy gives us just the tip, we're sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less. Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm mental.
And we are Everyone Racers. Thanks for coming back and listening to a Maserati Tipo episode of our podcast, 154. If you're not driving a car, grab that bingo card. Link's right there. It's
Tipo.
Okay. It's not new.
Tipo.
It's a 50s or 60s race car. No.
Oh, okay.
It was also sometimes called a 151/4, but Wikipedia had it enough as part of the 154, and I said, that's good enough for me.
Right.
So,
Okay.
yep.
Not heard of that one.
No, you have now. So that means you learned something today, so you can just stop listening to the show right now. And that's okay.
Content filled.
Yep. So what are we working on? Jeff, I want to know what you're working on first.
Oh, well,
You know.
I didn't Instagram it, but I was again working on my crappy house. So Saturday it rained, so all I did was piss people off on Facebook. Mission accomplished. Santiago, you're my man. Wearing a new shirt today. Just like to point that out to everybody.
We talked about that on the broadcast. Santiago's response to a lot of
yes. So anyway,
unrepeatable.
This is not Everyone Politics. It's Everyone Racers. So I will also talk about fixing my house because it's getting in the way of fixing my race cars. So I have solar panels. And we already mentioned the wet carpet / electrocution of the 12-year-old, right? I did talk about that here.
Shut up and use a glove.
Yeah, thank you. Just making sure. I don't always remember what I said in real life versus podcast life. So to fix the roof from leaking, I had to climb up on the ladder and scrape off 3 roofs, get down to the plywood and see the way waterlogged, damaged plywood, cut a bunch of it out, sister up some, what are those things called? The roof steels, joists.
Joist.
Yeah. It wasn't like the roof joist. I have like an eave, and they were like on separate joists. It was kind of weird. Interesting construction. I'm not really sure why they did that. So anyway, shored them up, new plywood, new water, snow, vapor thingy, put on
Ice and water shield.
Yeah, ice and water shield. Thank you. And then a new set of shingles. Actually, not a new set of shingles. I reused the old ones because I was able to save them and I had a stack like that. So, yeah, it's all done. Hopefully it don't leak.
Yeah, we're going to find out.
Because then if it doesn't leak, then I can fix the floor. Then I could pull up the carpet and then finish the floor. And then it's a never-ending deal with this house.
Yep. Should have saved
like
some of these projects for winter.
You can't if you have a hole in your roof.
Yeah.
I know. That's what I'm saying. You can't.
No.
Oh, well.
It's all right.
Bummer.
Floor is supposed to be COVID project. It just didn't get done. See last week's episode.
COVID didn't last long enough. I mean, come on.
I mean, it's still going on.
Right?
So
Chris, please tell us you worked on some sort of car.
Yeah.
I do. First, though, I figured out the trailer battery mount situation. I went to put in my new Group 27 deep cycle battery, and the mount I had made was about a 1/4 inch too short. So
No problem.
it hit the floor.
Squish the battery in.
Mm-hmm. Works great. So I pulled it out and re-drilled it and put it back on, and that was fine. And then I finally figured out why I wasn't getting 12-volt DC through the RV power converter when it was not plugged into short powers, because there's one more fuse that I needed to put in and I didn't know. So that fuse is in now, thanks to talking to WFCO. And so now it's really nice to get into your dark trailer, not hooked up to anything, reach up to the switch, and have everything come
I
on.
can't wait for that. Who is WFCO?
It's a company named WFCO that makes the RV power converters. You've seen them in like every RV. It's the thing with the brown cover that you push and flips open.
Yeah. I know what the converter is. I didn't know the company's name.
Yeah.
And I
so
figured
they make them.
If it's an acronym, you should give them a shout out since they were helpful.
Not an acronym. It was just they do have good technical support. So I will say nice job for them. So anyway, got that done, which is really nice to have. Also, whether
it was also. Did we say that it's happened at lunchtime? Or no, you did it like
I emailed them last night. They emailed me back at lunch and said, "Hey, what size fuse do you have in slot 6?" I said,
"Slot 6."
Exactly.
What do you mean slot 6?
Let me try that. Clink. Oh, now
yeah,
it
but
works.
you ran away during the day, and
because I had a potential solution to something, and it's very exciting when you have a solution
to
a problem.
It works.
Yeah. So that's nice. I went up on the roof yesterday and cleaned out the lint trap. We have our washer dryers upstairs, and the vent is through the roof. And every once in a while, the screen that keeps the critters from getting in gets clogged up with lint up there. So you got.
I am aware of that screen.
Yep. So that's clean now. And tonight worked on the Civic a bit. I still can't get the brakes to bleed. I have put a good solid 2 quarts of brake fluid through the right rear caliper, and it still has air coming through it. And there's nothing leaking. Like, you can step on the pedal with the engine on, with vacuum assist, nothing leaks, but yet air still pulls through. And I can't understand how something can not leak under 150 psi of pressure, but pull air through under like no pressure. That's all.
Could it be like some sort of pinhole leak in one of the soft lines that only sucks air in under pressure, but it's such a small hole that it doesn't go out?
Possibly. I just thought that that when you're stepping on it, you have so much pressure in the system.
It would
like
have
3 digits, like 3-digit psi.
If it's cut at the right angle, pressing out would seal it, but fluid pulling through it could open it up.
See, I was wondering if it was a leak somewhere or an air pocket somewhere that you're not like in a different trunk.
Yeah. Well, I went through. I have hit with a hammer every brake thing, like any places there's a junction.
It's good to do. Hit it with a hammer.
Yeah. Well, it moves the bubbles around. So I hit the master cylinder, hit the proportioning valve, and it's a really simple system. There's no ABS, there's no nothing. And then I hit the calipers and stuff. Still getting air. Like, there's no way that this much air is in the system.
And air is coming out of the caliper.
Yeah, only the right rear.
Okay, so it's definitely in that trunk.
Which is the one I just replaced.
It's the one you replaced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's right now, like, it's drivable. It's fine, but there's definitely some air in there somewhere.
It's drivable and what Hamza
is different.
right. Well, it's raceable. It's just not.
It's raceable, and the second push of the pedal has firm pedal every
who wants
time.
to do that?
Well, we've all done it.
I don't wanna.
But the first push of the pedal isn't where I want it to be. So anyway, but right now
and you're still getting air.
Yeah. So it's coming from somewhere. Yes. Like, I'm watching the bubbles and saying, like, how can there's still possibly
it's got to be a faulty caliper.
I don't know. Anyway, it's back. It's in the car. It's good enough for now. And we put it over the storage garage because that car's not going anywhere until early October, and other stuff is going to come through the garage in the meantime. So we need the room.
Very nice.
That's it. Yeah. Mental, what about you? What are you up to?
Well, obviously, I survived Florida.
Didn't get your face eaten.
Didn't get my.
Didn't fall off the boat.
Normally, you have to be extra for that. I did not fall off the boat. There were a couple of. Okay. Yeah. I'm also
one hand for the boat, one hand for you.
Well, and we'll talk about that in literally just a second. I'm in Class B bachelor status. Vicky's father is. He's not in bad shape, but he had a visit to the hospital, and her brother is basically been there kind of running the show for years, decades now. And so she went up there to kind of help out, and like one of the other sisters came in. So she's up there spending some time right now and just try and take the pressure off of him, get everything set up, and just help them get into routine. So, now the dogs are all like constantly following me around, like, well, there's nobody here during the day. This sucks. We're lonely. I found a gearhead in my squadron. We were talking the other day, and he's like, yeah, I took my NSX out the other day. What?
Hey, what?
Yeah, and great story. He bought the thing when he was in college. He was shopping for a Viper, and this one popped up, and they wanted way too much for it, and they let it slip that they were in a bit of a financial bind, and the payoff was $25,000. 92. As of right now, it has 58,000 original miles.
Nice.
Pretty good.
And I'm like, holy crap! And he bought it while he was in college. I'm like, what a great investment. He's like, yeah, I didn't buy it as an investment. I bought it because it's a cool car. And then he's also got a C5 Corvette with the Targa, but 6-speed and all the go fast parts on it. So we ended up doing that. I did lose a sailboat race twice, actually. Posted that on my personal Facebook. But I met up with an old friend in a bar. We talked about it last week, and we actually recorded a day early so I could go out there and crew on his sailboat. To which Chris sent me a list of, don't do these 12 things. 10 of them are really unsafe. 2 of them are just bad etiquette. And I adhered to that. It actually worked because he was an old Air Force guy. So, of course, we got a safety briefing. We got on there, and he gave me the look, when things are going fast, just ball up and don't get hit by the boom. And it was me and another guy.
It works.
Yeah, it did. It was me and another guy. And I'm not the strongest person in the world, but, we're a fit bunch. And the other guy was also very powerful.
Trying.
And, when he said,
I don't think he was talking about us.
Yeah, he's like, all right, nope. You're gonna pull this 3. You're gonna pull this 3 times, and then say tail, and then the other one's going to do tail. So we practiced that, and all of a sudden he had to go whoa, 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 because we were pulling and bending things that we weren't supposed to bend. Because he's like, all right, you guys, you're gonna have to stop trying to break my boat. But we weren't last on the way out, and the way it works is they race to the buoy, and when they hit the buoy, everyone turns around. And we raced back, and we weren't last on the way back. We also weren't anywhere near first, but it's a normal Wednesday night sailing league, and it's just an excuse to drink before, during, after. Had a lot of fun.
We
used to wait till we crossed the line. Then the beers came out of the hatch.
No, we were actually throwing beers from boat to boat. It was a lot. Having to actually work on a sailboat, it's the first time I have not been seasick on a sailboat that I can remember, because I had something to do and I had to move, and it was a smaller boat. So he had to have us climb up on stuff to try and balance us out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. And so I was learning about water dynamics. Like, the more mass you have in the water, the faster you are, which is counterintuitive. I would think you would want some of the less out of there. Anyway, that was cool.
A lot of it's about the shape of the boat and which angle the boat needs to be on for the most effective way for water to be going around it, etc.
And he knew all that, and we didn't. So then, yeah. You guys kind of heard this joke, but I'm a little stressed out about going to Florida. And then, there's 2 hurricanes headed for Florida. Now they found out, but I got there and I went to a bar, and I was a little stressed out. So I'm going to drink a little, and it's on the Gulf Coast. So I want to get something Gulf Coast flavored. And, but I also like my Mexican beers, especially in the summertime. So I said, hey, you know what? I'll have 2 hurricanes and a Corona. And the bartender said, that'll be 2020. Jeff,
didn't see that one on the internet at all.
Jeff, too busy tweeting to pay attention to that one.
No, it was good.
It just wasn't funny.
It was good. I liked it.
All right. And I have now successfully bicycled to and from work several times.
Yay.
Which goes back to the Instagram reference, because I had posted where I'd replaced the tire and put it up there, and people had made jokes about that. So if you have someone gets a flat on your bingo card, you can go ahead and check that one off too, even though it was last time. But now I have now bicycled, and I have found definitively that work is uphill from where I am, because my time to work, I average about 5 minutes and 5 seconds, but coming home from work, I'm about 4 minutes a mile. So it's this way.
Or the wind, or
your
motivation, or the heat. Any of those.
It is. Well, it's hotter in the afternoon. It's definitely not my motivation. And I'm like, the whole time I'm pedaling, I'm like, please, people don't kill me. Please, people don't kill me. In the morning, they're just not as aggressive. But anyway, so that's what I've been working on. I think it kicks over to Chrissy.
Yep. So I don't even remember what I did last week. Nothing interesting, I assume. I had the family over for dinner on Saturday. We used to have them over like all the time during actual COVID. And now we're all like, yeah, that's you. But now we're all over the place. So we had them over for dinner. That was nice. Sunday we went to the beach. It was a lovely day. Lots of bugs, but we got to sit and do nothing, which was great. And then recently I've been doing a lot of video editing for work, but that means also that we have a new video that's going to come out on YouTube.
Whoa, YouTube content.
Yeah, YouTube content.
Excited. Yes.
I know. It actually turned out really well. I just had a little bit of editing to do, just because I moved to a couple different places in my basement. This is all about. I'll just tell you what it's about, just because so you can get excited about it, or not, and then everybody can just go there. Okay.
It's just going to be awesome. Let's go with that.
What the hell is it about?
I do want to mention we are now officially at 100 subscribers.
What's that get us?
Woo woo! Nothing.
Okay, cool.
That much closer.
We only have 900 that we need.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. Okay, good.
More. Yes.
Yep. We don't even know that many people. But it's okay. So I'll tell you what it is. It's about pit setup. So it is in multiple places in my basement about what we do. I show like our coolers and kind of how we do our setup, and then what basically you could make what it could be. But really, I know if you watch it, you will come up with one thing that will help you set up your pit when you go to your next race. So, or you might think I'm crazy, or both.
Chrissy's working, Mr. Mental. We're not talking about pleasure boating or day sailing. We're talking about catching a fish.
Excuse me.
What?
I was on a business trip.
It's a line from Jaws that I was looking up while I was out there. Mr. Brody, we're not talking about day sailing.
My joke was
talking about
funnier than yours.
And the fact that he didn't get your video reference, what the hell?
Wow, it's all downhill from here, everyone.
I've been watching it since the black and white film was up. Trust me.
Okay, all right.
The beaches are open.
There's
Everyone's
a
having
reason.
a great time.
We have in fact caught a large predator.
Yep.
There is
Amity
a
means
reason
friendship.
watching Jeff's background video that the camera's only waist up.
And no time.
Okay, all right. We got a couple of them
I'm
here.
very excited that Chrissy found a couple of good news posts.
Well, these are the one of them's notes and both of them are notes. Anyway, I was perusing the news in the auto world, and this isn't actual news, but I stumbled on a Jalopnik article that had some compelling sales pitches for cheap generic window shades. So it actually might be helpful for Jeff's cars because he doesn't have AC anyway.
Oh, like car window shades.
Car window shades.
Like the thing the thing that pops out and goes in the windshield.
They have two. No. These are side window shades. So these are they call one of them was the suction cup ones. Hold on. Just let me read my copy here. I wrote this all. The thing. So they're convincing because when you install them easily, and they still roll, and you can still roll the windows down, and they keep the sun out and reduces wind noise. All of which is great because it gets really old when you're on long highway runs. Okay, so they have two main different styles: the suction cup one and a sock style, which is like you just stuff in the door and you roll them down. And they don't have any size issues. So these are just for the side windows, and normally they probably would be for to hide the sun for a baby or something like that. But this guy was going like across country, and he put them up there, and he said we stopped wanting to run the AC, thought that these two like generic different kinds of window shades were a good idea, and tried them and said that they were awesome. So I have the link in the show notes for the article. They don't tell you any brands. I don't have any brands for it, but it seems like it might be an idea. He said they were really cheap, and yeah.
Was the sock one like pantyhose sheer? I've seen a lot of people
over the window.
Like
over the window
things over, and I thought about
yeah. They call them sock. Sock was the kind that he said, but yeah, I think it's sheer, but it sounds like it will hide enough, especially since you go on highways when you have no AC, and if it's hot, then you're going to be running the windows open anyway. So it seemed like a nice idea.
Yeah. I just daily drive the Corvette now, and that one has AC. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that's also a good reason, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you
it's not because I want to, baby.
Thank you, Jen. Oh, she's not there.
It's because it's so hot.
She was there a minute ago.
Okay, you can't tell anyway. All right, I have more news and notes.
This is about to be next year Jeff's problem because it's about to get cold and you're not going to need it. So
Heck yeah.
nothing's going to happen until
One more
about
year of no car payments.
till about
Just
June.
gotta wait till it gets cool.
Yeah. All right.
June, you're going to say, "Damn it, debt passed Jeff."
Why didn't we fix that early?
Yep.
Okay, so as I was reading this article in Jalopnik, I went down a Jalopnik rabbit hole, excuse me, or rattle hole. And I found another awesome story. So this was actually we already had posted it. I'd seen it in Facebook, but we also posted it a couple weeks ago and I had missed it. We, meaning somebody else, not me, had posted it and I didn't see it. So to make it short, guy alerts multiple times, gets this alert multiple times a day for kid riding his bike up and down his nice flat.
Ring camera. On his ring camera.
Yes, right. So you guys know about this, except
Love
for
this.
Keep
talking about it.
He lives under a rock, so I'll tell him. Okay, so he gets alerted multiple times with his motion sensor. Has this really nice flat concrete driveway, and the guy decides to. So he starts out this video, and this is we already started Burning Pod because Menschel and I were talking about this article or this video. He starts out the video with kind of a gruff, like "get off my lawn" type attitude. And you think that's the way it's going, but he ends up making a racetrack.
What?
I can't.
What are you
okay,
Never mind. Keep doing. Keep reading your copy.
So, guy makes a race track in chalk, and the kids. The one kid, he comes up and it has little corners like with the rumble strips, and it's got ups and downs, and then he gets really fancy with it, and when it rains he makes a new one, so it becomes more complex, and he's all excited because the little kid's getting better at doing each of the tracks, and then all of a sudden towards the end they have all the people, big kids, little kids, big like adults, people pushing strollers, they all start going through this track on his driveway. I just thought it was awesome. I'm sad that I missed it the first time. I'm glad I watched it again. But
it was really cool. But I have a bit of a bone to pick. He says he's a car guy, and he has got a lot of concrete, and he needs to buy more cars.
No, Jeff. See, that's how the rest of the world works.
No, you have concrete.
Stuff
you buy a crappy car and put it on it.
No.
I think he had a really big garage because it was a really
it was a really big driveway. Yeah.
It was at least a 3 car. Yeah, no,
very
it was
wide.
Okay, so some of our Facebook fans, Alex Levin said, "Take note, everyone. This defines human love more than anything that I've seen lately." And then he added later, winning the world one child at a time. Michael K noted that the kid in the original Pink course was already early apexing turn 1 and setting up for turn 2. I love this video. And Vicky W got in on this one. I don't think I could love this any more than I do already. It was a really nice story. I thought it was going to be I get off my lawn. It's really cute. Link in our show notes.
Nice. I'm pretty excited. I never get to post articles from Vice, which is one of my favorite things to post on the internet, at least for the show. But thanks to Big Sexy Darren, he posted this up in Massachusetts. Chris, you have relatives who can vote in the state of Massachusetts, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. There is a right to repair law on the ballot, and it's closing a loophole from a previous right to repair law that will allow manufacturers to get rid of the ODB ports. Because the law is written that basically says if they have a plug-in, you're allowed to plug in and get the data off the car. So now all the manufacturers have to do is get rid of the ODB, and then basically independent shops can no longer scan for codes and all those other things.
Well, you also talked about how they were
onboard diagnostics.
Is that what I said? What did I say? Did I say
you
ODB?
you said ODB.
No.
Several times.
Old dirty bastard.
No.
Yeah, I knew where we're going.
OBD2 is the current standard. So anyway, because they're trying to close this loophole and it's on the ballot, the auto manufacturing industry is running a TV ad on the internet and television that basically says, if you vote yes on question 1, people will be able to steal your data off your car, stalk you, and sexually assault you. And they literally have a lady like walking through a dark car park and, don't vote for 1 or this could happen to you. It's total BS. It's fear mongering.
The primary was today, I think. So I don't. It was. Late anyone's votes.
Shnikes. It's a bit late. Well, either way, screw you, auto industry. Right to repair is a real thing.
Totally. And this kind of thing is terrible when that goes away. Like John Deere, basically, they're big tractors.
Screw John Deere.
Totally. They basically made it so no farmer that actually owns their big tractor. Those things are all computerized now for everything, but they don't let anybody touch them. You have to pay the dealer to do anything on them. And so these poor farmers can't fix their own tractors, and it's costing them tons of money. Yes, Chrissy.
This is an interesting idea. I had not heard about this, but we utilize them for the OBD ports for our trucks for work. In the safety aspect, because there's telematics, right? So we don't care where you're going, but we kind of do.
We care about what your speed is. We care about
what we care about what the if you have a check but if you have a check engine light, if it has some identifying code that your trans is going to blow up tomorrow, then we're going to take you off the road. So this is one of those things that we're really delving into, that it's not just braking and throttle, which it is for drive cam for the cameras and that kind of stuff, because we can be able to see, did you actually apply the brakes before you hit that car? You say you did, but you're in the old school videos, I'm looking at, can I see your foot moving? But now you'll be able to see.
It's also great for newer race cars, where you can plug into that and data log everything really, really easily. And sync it with your video, even.
Parents that want to keep up on their teenagers, how they're driving, how
is there an insurance company?
All of that, yeah. All of your Snapshot, Allstate, anyone that says put this widget in your car, that's where it plugs into, and we will get you a discount, which no one ever gets the discount. No one gets the discount when they plug into that. And I know that if I was to ever plug one of those things in there, my insurance company would just go
double.
Yeah, that's the deal. Supposedly they let that kind of thing happen, but they say if you do it, they can't raise your rates. They can only lower them by grandy driving.
Yeah, they're not lowering my rates. I would definitely get a call, and they're like, "Why is every day at this time there's a spike in your throttle?" Well, because that's when I drive into the overpass.
That's an off ramp.
Duh. Come to my house. It'll all make sense.
Well, I guess next week we'll report whether this passed or not. So.
Well, as the primary say, I don't know. Anyway, who knows? We'll find out.
Who knows? We'll see.
Hey, so keeping up with Chrissy's upbeat news and not Jeff's I am angry at the man news, because Jeff loves to be angry at the man.
Sometimes I am the man.
That's true. Yeah. Damn that Dean.
I've written so much policy lately.
Haggerty posted the results from the Raleigh Auto Auction 2 a few weeks back. A 91 special edition NA Miata, the BRG one, sold for $30,510. So before Jeff goes and puts Miracle up on eBay to fund his retirement, remember, this is a number one condition of one of the most coveted Miatas ever made with 8,000 miles. But first Miata to break 30 grand. So, I mean, it's going to happen eventually. We've already seen it with things like Civics and Zs and stuff. So that the right Miatas have always had weird Miata people interested, like, oh, well, that one had the red seats, but not the BBS wheels, but had the headrest,
And they had so many special editions.
Every year they had one, but some of them were more special than others. And if you want to really fall down a rabbit hole of sadness,
sunburst yellow with daisy wheels and
Go to Miata.net and watch the people argue about special editions if you want to feel better about yourself, but sad for humanity. So anyway, Alex Wilcox pointed out you could buy a Miata that's 30 years newer for the same amount, but that new ND is going to depreciate. This NA is probably going to become more valuable as long as you don't really use it. Sadly, $500 my ass.
Yeah, there it is. Okay. That's nice. Upcoming races. Let me just say that WRL is at VIR this weekend, which is probably why we raced VIR. No, I don't think it has anything to do with VIR. But it's to decide the Eastern Championships, because I guess the season's nearly over. I don't understand that exactly.
They start running their regional championships, and then they have their national just first of the year, usually at COTA.
Got it. Well, they have 45 cars coming. 18 of them are BMWs.
Boring.
Thank you. 7 Miatas, 1 lone Honda. It's actually an Acura. Does that matter, Chris? No.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, I understand. 9 Porsches, including our buddies Tyler Hoffman and Trevor Andrusko, who are in contention for the championship with Kingpin Racing in a Cayman. So good luck to Tyler and Trevor.
In recent results, Champ Car ran Harris Hill for their 8 on Saturday, 7 on Sunday Enduros, 45 cars, 9 very boring BMWs, 19 Miatas. $500 my ass. It's, yeah. 1 Honda, 1 Porsche. So Saturday's very boring podium was Premium Dudes in an 88 BMW 325. The second place finisher, Shut Up Racing, was 1 minute and 15 back in an 87 BMW. And third was Bavarian Mustache Works. Bad car, funny name.
Only if they did it right. Like, did they all have mustaches or fake ones and ran them all weekend? Did the car have a mustache? Like, you got to more.
Probably
you gotta
not.
Step up here, right?
I don't know. I feel like there's some Champ people with some sense of humor.
Sure.
You know, they were in a 93 BMW. They were 4 laps back. Now Sunday was almost a repeat, but Parts Badger in a Miata took number 1 by 2 laps, and then Shut Up Racing was less than a second ahead of Bavarian Mustache Works. For that's how second and third worked out. So hardcore battle right until the end.
Nice.
And apparently Champ Car snuck in a 12-hour race at Thompson on Saturday.
Yeah, I don't know how we missed that.
Yeah, 26 cars, which, I mean, you got the track to yourself there. That's a shame. First went to Blue Bayou Racing with their 97 Boxster, who crushed the field. 9 laps back was second place of Z-Tech in a 95 Accord. And 5 seconds back was Mostly Motorsports in a 90 RX-7. So
Nice.
26 cars. That's a shame. Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, they all went down to Harris Hill because that's where the championship was. Clearly.
But that's Texas. Like, there's a big difference between Texas and Connecticut.
It's
No.
Eastern Championship, isn't it?
No.
That was WRL.
Oh,
Mixing up your series there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Typically,
Don't cross the streams.
Champ Car runs their championships down in Florida
Go.
in
Got it.
December. Yeah.
Oh, WRL was at VIR. Sorry.
correct.
I will read my notes and try and remember them for more than 30 seconds next time.
It's really okay.
All right. And that brings us to.
Listener feedback time.
So I was talking to Uncle Dave, and he agreed with me. He was getting tired by the end of the show he was on.
Yes.
Because it went so long.
Yes. This terrible show.
So
It's
shut
okay.
up.
Don't leave us
sometimes, you
alone.
too.
It's your fault.
It's our fault.
It's true.
You did leave us unsupervised.
We thought you could
In
handle
my defense, yes.
it. You're adults, right? All right, we gave you some okay, we gave you some good feedback. Hopefully you can remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
We'll
last
try
week's
better next time.
last week's burnout episode really struck a chord with a lot of listeners.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, we got so much feedback. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Chrissy said on Facebook, Jeff's comments on us and the Daytona were spot on. Running the Saab has let me focus on things I truly love, like designing completely overkill solutions to problems that barely exist. And racing, that part's fun too. And he is not wrong.
That's about right for Chris. Yep. Well done.
Yep.
Steph S. retweeted our link to the episode on the Instagram. Can you retweet on Instagram?
No, that's why it's written. She retweeted
and
the link
added onto our
Instagram.
Instagram that she feels like seen. So, okay, we see you. We see you right through the screen, Steph.
Not weird at all. If you're not watching this on YouTube, you have to.
Chuck S. asked, wait, you can recover from burnout? He had no idea. And Jacqueline K. said, great episode. Too easy to go from happy emoji, happy emoji, to upset emoji, and had the woo emoji.
Yep.
The one with the head blowing off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And I even got a few texts directly, some Facebook private messages from listeners who really just connected with that. They thought they were the only ones. What's the matter with me? I'm the only one who does this. And so across the board in all of our things, we really appreciate everybody responding to that. And I hope, and I think you guys all hope we helped.
I know we helped at least a couple people because
Yeah.
they told us so.
Yes.
Honestly, I think, and we made fun of you, Steph. Sorry.
Learn from our mistakes because we're dumb enough
Yes.
to do
Yeah,
this stuff all
exactly.
first.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
But the I feel seen comment is probably about right because knowing that other people are having the same problem is way more than half the battle, and knowing that it's okay to feel that way. So stick with us. Sometimes you learn stuff. Maybe tonight, who knows? You'll learn some stuff.
Yeah.
But you learned what the Maserati Tipo was. So
Already.
I had no idea.
Heck.
Right.
And then there was a cute video out on the internet. So yeah, we've learned stuff already today. Anyway, Lesser's Racer reaction. Lemon's infamous iSecond Racing League was at Barber. Jeff was there with Mental, Ryan, aka Beard Sim Racer, and Eric Rude. What happened? What did we miss?
Actually, we had a good time. Hamsa showed up about halfway through. There was some great liveries. We once again had the pick a random number and then interview that person as the winner.
excellent. I'm glad we started.
Yeah. Ryan, the Bearded Sim Racer, is really, really good at not only commenting, but finding lame liveries and quickly busting out a new livery and then putting it on the guy's car, which is fantastic. So there was a really good bit. You have to listen to this. Watch the episode if you can. But so it turns out that the Lemons folks got an email recently that was really, really angry at them. Like somebody replied to like the random, hey, here's what's coming up next month. Make sure you're registered for this race and make sure, we had this race and check out our YouTube channel. And don't forget we do iRacing. Some dude, and we definitely confirmed that it was a dude, fired back the most hilariously angry email. And he was serious. He called them F-sticks. I'll just say that. Like iRacing is not real racing. Don't do that.
What?
He started the email with like, stop, unsubscribe, because he thought that would unsubscribe it.
like the text that comes across and it says, type stop if you cat facts.
Yeah. So just typing stop and unsubscribe is not going to unsubscribe you to the Lemons email. But it was like, you F sticks, this is horrible. It's not real racing.
This is a really quick side note. If you want to laugh sometime, look up I'm sure it's on the internet somewhere still, cat facts phone pranks. So it's basically you catch someone.
Jeff might need to subscribe to Cat Facts this week because
I know this one.
Oh, do you?
I'm very aware of it. Yeah.
Just look it up. We did it to Chrissy's mom once when I had a work phone. Yeah. She didn't know what the number was.
You have subscribed to Cat Facts. Yes. But this was this tremendously angry email. So I made a joke about like F sticks, and then Ryan, the Bearded Sim Racer, made a livery. Because of course we have Gordon's fisherman sticks.
So it's Gordon's F sticks.
It's
no. It's
the
like
generic
the
version.
value. It's the generic F sticks they're not really even fish because you can't trust the good value fisherman. You can only trust the Jeff Gordon's fisherman.
And the trunk had the letter from the angry person. There was a race. Somebody won. Nobody cares.
It was
hilarious.
It was so ridiculous. Because it was so upsetting, they actually they found the email address, dug into their records. This person went on about, it was fun racing with you guys, but these aren't real racers, not even real iRacers, blah, blah, blah. This guy had run exactly one race.
8 years ago.
7 years. Yeah. 8 years ago. And all of a sudden now he's an expert on what we do. And when you have annoyed Eric to where he starts delving into numbers, you have erred greatly. So and the way the audience responded was painfully hysterical. I actually I was laughing so hard. We
missed one race and all this stuff happened.
I know.
Oh my God. And we did the random number generator because he's Eric. Eric goes onto randomnumbergenerator.org and picks a random number. So Tyler Stank won again.
We picked a random number and Tyler won again. So anyway, there was a race. It was fun. We had a good time.
The Yeet Fest was so epic. A Miata got hung in the fence and held there for 20 minutes, and you could see him reversing and trying to get off the fence. It was so nice.
Yeah. Look, you're not doing anything else on Sunday night, or you have like time to sit in front of YouTube for a couple of hours. Push play on those Lemons videos. They're absolutely hilarious.
It's worth watching just for Lady Arbonon's 80s references. Yeah. She's on mine and Jeff's level. Yeah, so
we also had a race, right?
Yeah, we had a race last night. We said that, well, this week's Lemons is doing all kinds of wacky things. So we said, well, we kind of just did wacky things like last week or week before. So we said, well, let's try something else that we haven't done. So we went to VIR, and it was fantastic. I'm really now looking forward to going to VIR in Meat Space because of how much fun this track was to drive. Like, if it's anything like it is in iRacing, it's my new favorite East Coast track.
Really?
Yeah.
That's big words.
Yeah. And that's why I want to go. October 2nd, 3rd. Jeff, what are you doing? Or 3rd, 4th?
Is that NASA?
Yeah. Let's go. Come on. Let's do it. You don't have orientations every week. Let's go. Anyway, we used some actual fast cars to get ourselves in trouble. Like the first round, we had I raced the Cadillac CTS. We had the 87s, of course. We had some. What else? We had the Kia Optima out there. We had
everybody loves the Kia.
Yeah, only one person had it, but
anyway, the AMG.
We had the AMG, of course, because Mental had to have the AMG, and then we had a Porsche 718 Cayman for Eric. Yep. Anyway,
I'd like to point out
fun.
that an AMG won that race.
Yeah, it was Santiago.
Yeah, not mine. No, God, no, it wasn't me at all. Actually,
Santiago, because he's an alien.
I was third, but yes.
Yeah. Then the next race, we did even wackier cars. We did the Formula Pro Mazdas and Holdens, and I think I stuck some NASCAR stuff in there too. Like we had the 87s, and I put the NASCAR truck in. It ended up being most of us in the Pro Mazdas, and Eric and Matt Freitas in the Holdens, and they said that was terrible. But the rest of us in the Mazdas are having a great time. Those things are a lot of fun.
Chris pointed out that
right?
Yeah. Chris pointed out that all of a sudden, like in the first race, we're running our mouth, doing our normal Monday night thing on the chat, and all of a sudden we're in the Mazdas and we're not talking because we're actually trying to drive these things, and really the only conversation was every now and again Matt would go, "Fucking Holden, God, this car sucks."
Yep. The rest of us were just concentrating on driving well and hard and fast, and it was weird. So don't worry, we're going to go back to doing something terrible again soon. But yeah, VIR.
Yeah, let's quick plug it. Every Monday night at 9:00 Eastern time.
And 10 o'clock.
And 10 o'clock, 2 different races. We usually do something fun. We don't know what we're doing this week yet, but I'm sure it'll be fun. Look for the races E1R. It has a password, and it's probably on your bingo card or on your race car. It's a brake pad, and it starts with ST.
Maybe Asbestos.
Yeah,
and
get on our Discord. Yeah.
Yes, please. There's some people that aren't in the Discord, and like we want to talk to you, and we can't.
Yeah, like Joel came, and he's phenomenal, and yeah.
And Santiago too. Like, come on, guys, get on the Discord, because otherwise, we can only hear Lamino talk about surprise things many times. So, yeah.
Okay.
Hey, you know who else also surprises me?
I'll say before you do that, on the Sunday night races, when someone did something really, really stupid, we had one of our viewers, and we know this viewer personally, and he threw up there and he says, "Hey, do you know who never does something that stupid?"
It's true.
They did not. No?
They did.
No.
It was in the chat window.
That's great. Awesome.
Yes. So Chrissy's mom got a shout out on the Lemons races.
That's awesome.
There you go. We also learned that the dishwashing fairy's son listens to us. So
watches.
Hi, Josh.
He watches. He's one of our subscribers.
Oh, then I'll wave.
We also need to say hi to Chrissy's dad, because he reminded us this weekend he's listened to every single podcast, and he doesn't get the credit like Chrissy's mom does.
Oh,
sorry, Joe, you don't make cookies for the whole paddock.
That's where I was going to go. It's not that we don't love you. It's not that you didn't help them rewire the basement and the kitchen, and that you're not a marvelous person. But it's cookies. I'm sorry. I can be bought, and I can be bought for cookies.
He's probably saying yes.
Public time. We're talking about Racing in the Rain today. No, not the book. No, not the movie. Actually putting your race.
This isn't about sad dogs.
Yeah, exactly. This episode won't make you cry like the first chapter of Racing in the Rain.
Yes. or get you angry. Never mind. It's about actually racing in the rain, channeling your inner Senna. Who's got an inner Senna?
Because rainouts
You know
are
you
for
do,
baseball players.
Yes, NASCAR
And
people
NASCAR.
parking in the rain.
Well,
keep
now
driving.
that's physics. That's not the drivers. That is sheer physics of trying to get a car.
Formula One runs in the rain.
Not at
grooved.
200, not at 200 on banking.
Sure, they
don't.
do. Well, they
No,
go
they
fast. They go plenty damn fast. Just put on some different tires, put some Rain-X on, and send it. Come on, don't they like crashes in NASCAR?
The least form of spectators would, and I'm sure the drivers would, and I'm sure the drivers would be awesome. It's some present company excluded bean counter and insurance going, no, you can't.
But yet somehow F1 gets to do it. But anyway,
It's the culture of the sport.
If you die at spectating at a race in Europe, you don't get to sue.
Anyway, we're here to talk about racing in the rain and channeling your inner Senna, and we wanted to start
or your inner Jeff.
Don't go that far.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to do landscaping, then you can channel your inner Jeff.
Let me just say
what was really good in the rain, not Audis,
the boat.
The boat.
So there's a Venn diagram, and I wish I had the thing. I could have just pulled it up on the thing. There's a Venn diagram, and it's really like two different Venn diagrams. There's a Venn diagram of liking to run in the rain and not liking the rain, and then being good at it and not being good at it. And you want to be in the center. But I'm saying there are people who love it who aren't good at it, and people who hate it who are good at it. So it's more than just that. Chris, why don't we start with the technical stuff? Because I know you're going to talk about some of the more advanced things, and then I'll get to the Zen.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to do the boring things first. If I had to sum up racing in the rain, it's find the grip, and it's probably not where you expect it to be. That's basically it. And here's how it all works. The age of the use of the track matters because as a track gets run by a bunch of race cars, those race cars polish the racing line and put rubber down on it, which fills in kind of the voids and puts some stickiness there. But in the rain, that's worse. Like, have you ever been on a motorcycle or bicycle and gone to one of those little tar patches between, like on the cracks and things like that?
The sealer.
Yeah. Those are like ice. You know what else is like ice is the lines on the road on a wet. If you've been on a wet motorcycle, those are terrible. But anyway,
who are you looking at on this thing?
Mostly mental, but
the other biker.
No, I low-sided the Scooby.
Oh my God!
I came back with the lunch all over the sidewalk and my Yeah.
Was that because of paint?
It was wet because it was.
That was a work weekend. Oh my God, that was awful.
Yeah. So
the Tour de France,
half of you, but
the Tour de France is on right now, and if it rains at the Tour de France, when they go into those little circles, the towns, they have like ginormous crosswalks, and they will the entire place will just fall on their ass when they hit those crosswalks.
That's awful.
Yeah, because it's like they're turning around the cul-de-sac or the traffic
rotary.
circle, and half go this way and half go this way, and they'll just so straight. Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
No, it's absolutely right. So, but that's exactly the point. Where people have been driving has less grip than where they haven't been driving. So let's start off with a normal basic corner. It's a 90-degree right-hander. So normally you'd be coming in on the left side of the track. You'd be braking. Then you'd come into your apex. That's the right side of the track. And then you track out back to the left side of the track. That's a normal line. The racing line, you basically need to pretend you have an old Camaro. It doesn't turn. But what it does do... Which
honestly, I do every day.
Right. It doesn't turn, but it does go quickly in a straight line, and the brakes are okay. So, because really what happens in the rain is you lose, I'm going to say 40% of your cornering, but only 30% of your acceleration and braking. So you want to spend more time doing the acceleration and braking and less time cornering because it's not going to work as well. So what you do in the rain is you'll come down, not on the left-hand side of the track to this right-hand corner, but to the middle or the right, because that's not polished and that's not all worn off, especially in a braking zone. It's all slick as anything right there. So you stay off of it. You start to brake there. When you get to cross the dry line, all of a sudden you're going to have no grip and your wheels are going to lock up, your ABS is going to come on. But then on the other side, all of a sudden you're going to have grip again. So then you finish slowing down, make a sharp turn, accelerate back over the dry line, and end up on the right-hand side of the track. So like what you would think of as, the inside as you're coming through the corner. So it's the exact opposite. Instead of making a big broad arc, you're making a very narrow, like 90-degree corner in way up by the outside radius of the corner, because that's where the grip is. And if you try to go with the dry line through this, you're going to be fighting it the whole way through because you're on all the slick stuff. But if you get
and when he says fighting it, he means losing that fight.
Usually, yeah. But if you stay on the other pavement, the pavement first is probably a little more porous because it doesn't have rubber filling in all the gaps. It doesn't have as much oil and stuff that's been dripped on it. It's not been polished over. So all those areas have more grip for your tires to grip in. So that's the basics of it in general. You do have to cross over your dry line quite frequently, though. So you have to know how to do that. If you see it coming, don't just hold your same brake pressure, because that's not going to work unless you haven't been braking very hard. If you've been braking hard enough, you need to come off the brakes as you cross it and then back on when you get the other side. Or with accelerating, same thing, expect you're going to get some slip, ease off. Or sometimes you have to cross it while cornering. A great example of this is at Lime Rock, the left-hander. So if you're in the rain, you come out of turn 1 and you stay to the inside, and you kind of just hang around the inside as you're coming out of turn 2. Into turn 3, the left-hander, you cut back to the inside to the left, and then you have to basically get the car positioned next to the dry line. And then you do what they call it a leap of faith, because you gradually ease out of the wet line. Mm-hmm. The whole car will slide to the right. But then as soon as it hits the other side, it catches and you feel it. But if you are not, even with the dry line as you come up to it, you're not going to cross it smoothly. But if you come up to it evenly, you just slide right across it, perfectly controlled. Don't do anything dumb or don't make any big control movements. You hit the other side of it, you catch, and you go. So figuring out how to cross the slick dry line is important. And how you have to do all this depends a lot on how old the track surface is and how well it's been used. If it's a brand new track, the dry line hasn't been ruined yet for the wet. So you can pretty much run the dry line in the wet and you're okay. But if you get a track like New Hampshire Motor Speedway, where they haven't repaved that thing in a long time, back when our Civic was not even turboed yet, I could pass pretty much anyone around that track in the rain. And it was by driving really weird lines, like coming up the hill. You turn 3, you go up the hill, but instead of coming to the inside, I stayed way up on the left.
Yeah.
Like way out on the left. Like
yes, I remember
out on the left. And you would just rock past everybody with your 120 horsepower Civic because no one had any traction except you. Yeah, you were in the marbles, but you kicked those out of the way after a few laps, and you have all the grip, so you can do it. So there's another example of how that works. And last thing, watch the standing water. None of these tires have huge voids for evacuating it that we're using. Standing water is still going to make you hydroplane, especially at some of the speeds we're doing, and especially if the tires are wide, if you don't have narrower rain tires. So that's still going to be a problem. Also, standing water from cars you're going by. Well, if you are next to a car and you're going through a puddle,
we're gonna beat this up because this subject, that particular point comes up several times.
Yeah, just think about where you are and where their wake is going to be. That's all I'll say.
That's really interesting.
So anyway, that's kind of the physics and the principles behind what you're doing. But just the last thing is easy controlled movements. There's no mashing the gas. There's no stomping the brake. There's no violent steering maneuvers. Everything is smooth and controlled and precise because that's what it needs to be.
And this actually goes right into where I'm going, Chris. So,
Perfect.
Mental, do you still want to say something, or do you want me to transition?
Yeah, and I wanted to get Chris's input on this one too, but also like some of the older tracks that they haven't repaved in a while, like CMP, right up until this year, because they repaved it this year. You get offline CMP when it's dry, you're screwed. Forget it. There is no grip because it's basically just a bunch of it's practically gravel. But because it was such peak and valleys when it was wet at CMP, offline is definitely where the grip was. And what's the phrase you always use when you're telling us to drive in the rain? Or if I missed it, I apologize, but I don't think I missed it.
Find the grip.
Well, about what's shiny.
Oh yeah, if it's matte, it's probably fast. If it's shiny, it's slick.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm glad you did the technical part, because now I'm going to talk about the untechnical part.
Perfect. I'm going to get some more water.
Yeah, no, that's okay. You might want to hear this. You really need to check your vibe before going out in the rain. You need to get yourself in the right headspace. The Art of Racing in the Rain is a book about dogs and about Zen. It's not actually about racing in the rain, but I'm telling you, Zen is probably much more important in understanding where your headspace is at when you're racing in the rain. Chris already said it. You already know how to drive a car, but you need to do more of it when you're racing in the rain. Smooth is fast. You need to be smoother. Slower inputs, slower hands and feet, even slower in the rain. Traffic management is so much more important. Not just your bubble of safety, but who's handling the conditions in which way. Because some people will be out there in the rain like, I'm Senna, yeah! And they're driving as hard as they can, but they're terrible at it. And they're going off the course. So it's a lot more dicey of a situation. And if you're the person who's out there going, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, you're not in the right mindset.
And as you said that, your video behind you was perfect, because
Was it?
one of the cars just spin on a straightaway and went into a wall. It was great.
Like the limits of adhesion, who's doing what, who can you get close to, where can you got to experiment a little here. Try this line. Is there enough grip? Try this line. Is it a little better? Try this, and go a little faster each time. And if you're not in a Zen place, if losing traction makes you slow down, you're going to be in trouble. Watch
out for Camaros and Mustangs. Or they always seem to be the problems.
Or any. Go ahead, Mito.
Say, not to ruin Jeff's Zen discussion, but Chris, mechanically, why are Camaros and Mustangs the problem?
Because they got a lot of torque, which is going to break the wheels loose. They got wide tires usually, and they're heavy.
What kind of rear end do they have?
Stick.
Solid axles.
Absolutely. And this is.
But solid axles aren't necessarily bad.
Yeah.
Like the boat with the Ombre were pretty damn good in the rain. It's about how it's set up and what the kind of stiff they are and their dampening and
fact.
Blah,
but
blah, blah.
Typically Mustang Camaros from the factory, they came designed with the drag racing kind of setup right up until they started doing the independent rears. But
there may also be a self-selecting thing for the kind of people
that's
that
what
use
I was
Mustang
gonna
and
say.
Camaros. That's really where I'm going to.
They have the wrong attitude.
Yeah.
Right. And I was gonna tie that into Jeff's thing is you'll start learning who they think they got this, but you're in your car going, they ain't got this.
No.
And let them have that corner, because they're going to screw it up spectacularly. And you just bought a front row ticket to an awesome show.
Yeah. Look.
But don't be too close that they hit you when they spin.
Exactly. No. That's why I said.
Let them go. Let them friggin' go.
Traffic management and the bubble is so much more important in the rain, because they're going to screw up. And you're going to screw up. You're going to slide. You're going to move. I'm not saying that you're going to find all the grip out there, because I don't want you having all the grip. If you have all the grip, you're not trying hard enough. So you have to slowly ease in and slowly get quicker and go at your patient levels. And the core understanding of the Art of Racing in the Rain, it is better the slide that you create than the slide you get surprised by. And that is the core understanding of being comfortable with being loose in the rain, but not too loose. Because you try this, and if you get a little loose, you try something else. You try this, and it gets tight, and then go a little faster. And that's the way that you're going to have the Zen of building up. If your hair's on fire, if you're too excited, if you can't handle the little, that's going to happen in your rear end, recenter yourself, recheck yourself, or maybe trade off and wait for that dry shift. But to get better, you have to get comfortable.
And if you're not trying to win anything, if you're not good at it, don't try to win anything. Like you're not, not going to. So use it as a learning experience. Gradually approach the limit. Very gradually. Don't go into it like, hell yeah. Don't say, all right, I'm going to learn. I'm going to find the limit. I'm going to cross it a few times, and I'm going to learn how to get back. But when you cross it, only do it just a little, because then you can probably still save it and probably stay on the track, or maybe put 2 wheels off or something. Okay, fine. But you have to know to cross the limit to know how to get it back, to even know where it is. Because you might be super afraid of driving, but you're still have 20% left. You don't know.
You have to strike the balance of being comfortable, but being aware.
Yeah. And I like to do traction tests.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like give the gas a good boot sometime, just, when you're going straight, when you're controlling, just to see what happens. Or, come up the brake and get a little harder on it. Right. I do this in the snow sometimes too. Like how hard can I brake before the ABS comes on?
Yes.
Because you need to know what you're working with there. And if you never approach the limit, you're never going to know.
And I really want to say something, but it's coming up later. So I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to pass it off.
And we when you first start into the sport, and I was guilty of this, you tend to think of traction in analog terms. Either it is or it isn't. And then even in the dry, as you get there, you begin to realize that traction is digital. And sometimes you're faster with only 80% traction because you need the car to move to a different place. And that's how you get there. And like Chris said, if you're not trying to win, this is a great chance for you to learn something that is going to help you in the dry. And Jeff's whole conversation about the Zen, when you just kind of stop and you have that Green Hornet moment where you start realizing, this car red, he's a problem. This car blue, not a threat, but I'm going to let him go by. And it is brilliant. I raced at VIR in a torrential downpour. As the sun was setting, Matt Farah was running with all the guys from Drive, and they were doing a thing in a very fast BMW E30. But I knew that Matt couldn't see very well at night, and I just ran him down in a single cam neon. And then all of a sudden, it got dark, and I was lapping him. And then I wasn't lapping him, and the car was coming around me like I was going backwards. Oh, that's because Chris Harris was driving it. And then it started raining.
Drivers, yep.
Right. And then it started raining, and that thing is coming through the corner sideways like it was programmed to do so. Oh, that was Andy Lally, the Porsche factory guy, and the drift guy who made a journalist nauseous one time. And it's just, so recognizing that and just kind of being in that Zen place of, I'm just gonna let him by and then see if I could learn something on that. And usually I couldn't. Are we ready to move on to the next spot, or did I just step on your toes?
No, you're doing it. That's what I said.
All right. So if you're going to do all of this stuff that Chris and Jeff just talked about, and that's key, you got to be able to see. Well, that's why the windshield's clear. That's why it's made of glass, so you can see through it. But now that you have rain coming down, there's an opportunity not only for water, but all kinds of things to get attached to that window while you're trying to drive. And you have to keep that clear. My first race car, absolutely. Wipers? No! This is a race car. Defroster? Gone! Ah! Weight savings! I will drive everything. If you're building a race car, you're building your first race car, you're helping your buddies build the first race car, for the love of all that is right, leave the wipers and the defroster. Just do it.
Yeah. We pulled the heater box out of the Honda many years ago.
Yeah, still regretting that one.
Yeah, guess what we've done with all the other cars? Like the Solstice had a heater, had everything.
Yeah, even when you try to put the little dryer vent from the little hole that you try. Nope.
The Honda, I even pulled the wiring to the rear defroster. I was like, oh, that's thick wire, weight savings. Yeah. Exactly. Left that damn thing.
When you're pulling a wire, a single wire, double wire probably, for weight savings, you're doing it wrong.
So I ran Champ Car. I've talked about Dustin on this show. Great guy. And I ran the Champ car. Those guys that built that car all grew up in Florida. So guess what they left on their race car? The defroster and the wipers. And you would come down the back straightaway. I'm in a Honda Accord. At max, I'm doing maybe 110. And every V8 powered muscle thing is going past me so hard, it's popping my ears. But it had started raining, and it was raining on turns 3 and 4. So it was just creeping up to the bus stop. And I would go to the bus stop, hit the wipers. The defroster was already on, and every one of those cars that had just passed me was running on the flat part of the apron like they were getting ready to pit. And I was able to go around them at 110, which was all that little Honda had, but it was a great little Honda because I could see, and it was brilliant. And I was like, God, why did I ever take the defroster out of that? Even with the defroster, or in our case, you've made a mistake and you've already yanked the defroster. Okay, that's fine. You can add some surface treatments on there. And this is stuff that we've tried. This isn't theory. We're working on there. First off, Rain-X. Rain-X is a good idea even when it's dry. If you're not expecting any rain, you should always treat Rain-X on there. We always do it either the night before or the morning of, before the car grids, because it keeps the windshield clear. There's other stuff, there's bugs, that sort of stuff, and it's basically a liquid poly coating that's going to help stuff not attach as hard onto that windshield. I'm not going to tell you Fog-X doesn't work. I'm just going to tell you that every time
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
I'm going to tell you every time.
Man, that worked great.
Wait. And how is that made by the same company who makes Rain-X? Because Rain-X works. Fog-X,
yes.
No.
All
day. And here's why. So inside of the car is a temperature difference, and that leads to condensation. So Fog-X, I wrote here that I'm not going to say it doesn't work, but no, it doesn't work. And not only does it not work, after a few hours, it becomes a gummy mix that you're wiping off with your gloves, and it looks like boogers all down the inside of your glove. Just don't. Rain-X, good. Fog-X, bad. That ends up, so what we swear by, and I don't think anyone's ever contradicted us on this, is Barbasol.
Like
everyone we've shown this
foamy shaving cream.
Yes, big.
Doesn't have to be that brand, except that brand is like $1.
It really is.
So just
and
go
minty.
with that one.
Sometimes it's minty.
Sometimes it is minty.
Like the can that your grandfather has in the shower that rust and makes the rain.
So,
that's the
yes,
Barbasol you want. So I introduced this one when I was racing at Thunderhill last year, and they're like, no, we're going to put Fog-X. And I'm, no, for the love of God.
They're like, just try this one. Just believe me.
They were out, and I'm like, stop at CVS Pharmacy, get a can of Barbasol. We put it on the inside of the windshield, and it poured, and we never had a problem. So Barbasol. Chrissy, go ahead.
We saved teams by applying it to their windshield. It was NJMP. I think it was NJMP.
One time at Thompson, Dave Mills comes in, and we were the first garage right off of the track.
Yes.
And he comes in, and
he couldn't even get off the grid. He was like, help.
I can't see. But it's things like that we literally, I think we had we were throwing the can down the garage bays because everybody that came in, they were just like, I literally can't see.
That same can has been around for years, and it's been on probably 20 cars by now.
Yeah, no, but that's the time that we made people not crash into you or walls or stuff because they could not see.
Now, the application is messy as hell. Deal with it. You foam the crap out of the inside of your front windshield and then smear it all over the inside of the windshield. And
don't
then
go overkill, though. Don't go overkill.
Okay. And then take a separate set of paper towels and completely wipe it off of there. And then it's going to do a really good job. And you're going to want to do that on every day before you start the race. All right. Rag on a stick. And I wrote here, it's a joke. Right up until you need a rag.
I love the rag on the stick.
I hate
except when you lose it and then it rolls into the wet on the floor.
I'm going to talk about that in a minute.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Exactly.
The Cressida has done the rag on a stick correctly.
Yeah. Yes. So key to this, make sure that the rag on a stick is secure. Like it has a mounting spot where you can lock it in place, grab it and pick it back up again. It's got to be easily accessible to the driver. If it's too far back or too far forward or too far in the passenger seat, they've got to like move their head to get over there. And now I think every race seat, every series requires a containment seat. So they've got to be able to get it just to like the electrical cutoff switch. Chris.
Two quick things on rag and a stick. The Cressida has done this perfectly. They have those little kind of snap clips that you can put on the wall of your garage to hang a rake.
Yep.
They've got two of those stuck to the side of the transmission tunnel, and it just clips right in. The other story is rag and a stick in the boat. One time I was racing in New Hampshire in the rain. Obviously no roof. And we had wipers, but it doesn't matter. The inside of it's a convertible.
It's the inside of the windshield that you do rag and a stick with. Yeah.
So it was bad. And I came in and said, we need a rag and a stick. And so we took the hood prop because that was sitting on the ground. And then we grabbed a towel and we wrapped it around it and duct taped it. And I gave it to me. And that was wonderful. Except one time I turned left too hard and it went away and I couldn't get it back.
There was like 9 feet of the boat that you just couldn't reach. Like
and
you're in your seat,
and I wasn't able to drive fast enough to turn right hard enough to get it back because I couldn't see because I didn't have my rag and a stick. And eventually it slowed down enough that I could get one good hard corner and I got my rag and a stick back. And then it felt like putting on like a new shirt on a hot day. It's like, oh, that's so nice, right? You can see.
I hate to ask this because people think I have Simpson-shaped heads, and that means it's the Simpsons. Do we need to explain what a rag on a stick is?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
So
it is exactly. Well, I just described on how to build one.
Exactly.
So
a good one. You don't want a pointy stick with a rag kind of wrapped around it because your idea is you're trying to get surface area. So think like one of those Swiffer type things. But you want like a good thick one of the red rags, like red shop rags or something like that, something that's got a lot of absorbency and understand
terry cloth, like an old towel,
microfiber.
Yes, it is going to get soaked and it is just going to smear water on your windshield, but that's fine because you can see through that when it gets really bad. So something flat with a lot of coverage and a good handle on it, so you could do that. So that's why I said like one of those, a short version of a Swiffer.
Yeah, if you don't have anything that's short and you don't have anything, think Q-tip.
No,
you need a lot of padding.
Literally the opposite of what I just said.
I know. I'm saying if you don't have something flat, you need to make it bulky enough because if it doesn't conform to the window when you push it, like you can't have like a this. You need like a this.
Yeah, this is okay.
That's why the towel wrapped around the prop rod was okay because there was enough. At
it
the top.
Worked. We used that for years and years.
Well, there was enough bulk at the top that you could push it against it and it would flatten out and it would actually work quite well. But not as well as the actual like made for glass wiping thing we have now.
There's
it's got this triangle pad and it's
but
got
sometimes
a
you don't bring that.
It was like $6. It's called like a glass cleaning wand.
Yes, but it is a marvelous piece of equipment.
And it's designed for like wiping the inside of your windshield. So it's like angular correct and everything. Have we spent enough time on rag on a stick?
Yes. All right. So next thing. So you've already made the mistake. You've yanked your heating unit out. You have no defroster. You can put the wipers back in, but it's not helping you on the inside. They have heating grids, and this is exactly what it sounds like. It's basically a aftermarket version of your rear window defroster that you roll across the front. And there's a lot of teams that have actually very successfully used these. Now, Beamer World and a couple of other specialty shops, and we've got a link to the Beamer World in our show notes. They make the add-on defrosters for your front windshield. And have you ever seen a bad one? I haven't seen a bad one. Anyway,
I mean, they could be installed kind of sloppily, but aside from that,
but they're right about $100, and it's going to heat the inside of your windshield and function as a defroster. These aren't bad at all. If you've got a lot of leaks, anticipate some problems with this one, but it's a good one. You've also got the old school bilge fans, some ducting. But if you're getting into fans and ducting, you're correcting a problem that you caused by pulling your defroster out. You're trying to redesign a factory system. Just
the heating grids work. Like Chris Egan's got one, and actually and Glenn on his truck too. They both said they turn that on, it's crystal clear, no problems.
Yep. And if you've pulled the wipers off your car, go to the junkyard and get another set.
Now, here's one last wacky option: mount a wiper on the inside of your windshield.
If you have a convertible like the truck that has bad airflow, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, to get like a wiper motor for an old Jeep that just kind of sat flat like that, very simple 12-volt on off, and find an arm that fits and give it a try. I mean,
Right, because what's happening is even though you're soaking wet and miserable inside your car, your body is 98.6 degrees, which is increasing the temperature, which means the condensation point on the inside of your windshield is different than the condensation on the outside point. Hence, you get fog.
it's not the U that's the problem. It's usually the 300-degree
motor,
exhaust.
yeah, exactly.
Well, I was saying in the
and
Honda, yeah, that's the
and that's heating up all the water that's on the floorboard because you went next to a car through the puddle, which put a wave in the car. Yeah,
which means you need to learn to manage your water. And I think Jeff's got
Chris is like setting me up perfectly here because that's exactly what we're talking about. This is the water management. Because how did the water get in your car? Guess what? It gets in your car. There's no way around it.
There's no way around it.
It's exactly what Mental says. It's hot inside a race car, and then if you add water, you get fog. So how do you keep the water out of the car or drain the water out of the car? It's not going to happen. There is no such thing as a hermetically sealed race car that you can survive. Just ask the NASCAR people. They put it in the window on the side and everybody's all pissed off.
Like the Daytona prototypes at Le Mans, I think those are actually sealed and air conditioned.
Sure.
But aside from that, you're not avoiding this.
The problem is airflow. Airflow equals water flow. So all those scoops and NACA ducts that you put in to blow air in your cockpit so you didn't puke. Yes, I'm talking about you, Bruce. All of that is now
listen to the show.
I know. All of that is now a water spout inside your car. Okay. So if you have something that flows the air like this, when you go through that puddle, the water is going to flow into this. I loved the ombre in the wet. But the ombre had giant truck windows. I mean, it was an S10 basically. And every time we went through a giant puddle, it was like a wave coming in. And this is not just like a little bit of rain. When there's standing water, you're going to get rain. All those holes in the floor and the doors and the firewalls, you should have sealed a bunch of them anyway, but you didn't. So they're going to be coming in. This is going to have a pooling effect. You need to make sure that you didn't just build a tub in your footwells, okay? Quick story. All of you know that I love the International Scout. The International Scout 2 was once celebrating the 50th year of the design. So they brought the designer into like the annual Scout dinner, and a guy picked him up in his perfectly restored like mid-70s Scout 2 at the airport. He drove him in. They're talking about it. They're talking about the design. And he says to the designer, he says, no matter what I do, my roof leaks. And the designer looked at him and he said, it's okay. I put drain holes in the floor. I don't know if that's a true story or not, but I'm sticking to it. You need to make sure that your floor drains. You have holes. You can't stop it. There's big window holes. What you need to think about here is like a sailboat. A little hole in the back is good. A hole in the front of you is bad. Okay. So seal up everything in the firewall. That's dangerous anyway. If you have something way back here behind you, that might help. If you have that 3 inches of water that pools, your rag on a stick is going to fall in it, and then it's going to be useless.
That's true.
You have to think about all those ducts that you put in. Can you turn
Where
them
did
off?
those ducks come from?
Not ducks like quack.
They're attracted to water.
Quack,
Ducks like water.
Like all those air vents. Can you turn them off? Can you cover them? Do you have a rain plan?
Find the low spots because
Right? Low spots.
Where does it pool?
Water finds the low spot.
If you have never taken a drill and gone, where's the deepest part of that puddle? You're not a real car guy.
And don't be afraid also to use a mallet to create the deepest part of that puzzle.
Yep. You need to think about how the water is going to drain out. By the way, because your cool suit cooler might turn over too.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and you're going to
get black flagged.
and get black flags. Design your car with the understanding that water is going to get in it, and how is it going to get out, and is there a way to keep it out from where you don't want it to be?
Yep.
Chrissy, I know you want to talk about.
Well, I want to make sure that we're done with rain and cars.
I think so.
All right,
Yeah.
there's a whole
We've
lot
got some
beyond this.
points that didn't fall into
I mean,
clean
I can talk about
categories. But yeah.
I can talk about tires quick.
Whatever.
We've got some points below, but I think Chrissy's stuff is actually really important.
It is.
Let's do
Okay.
tires and then go right to Chrissy and then be done.
Yeah, because let's be done
All
with
right,
the
we'll
car.
be done with so tires. If you
By the way,
have-
everyone, rewrite all this before we get here.
we do.
Well,
Well planned.
So tires, the things that are good in the dry aren't necessarily good in the wet. In the dry, you want a lot of surface area, you want low void area, and you want a grippy compound and a stiff carcass, right? In the wet, you want basically none of those things.
Stiff carcass right here.
Yes, it's a carcass, that's for sure.
Wait, people that are listening to this on a podcast don't know what you just pointed
I'm
to.
flexing.
Yeah.
Stiff carcass, baby.
Pew, pew. That's about those guns are. That's
I think Chrissy's arms are probably bigger than mine.
They actually are, I think.
So you want tires that have full tread depth, ideally, because that helps evacuate the water out from under the tread. If you've got slicks, obviously that's just going to ride over the top of the water. So full tread depth is good. You want a pattern that gives water a place to go and enough void area to do it. Void area is the spots in the tread that's cut out. So
It's the holes.
Yeah, it's the grooves in it. You want enough grooves, like you know those tires that you see that like have grooves that are vestigial, like just so they can say they have them, right? You know, like the old Hoosier R7s, they've got like one groove carved around the middle. No, that's not going to work. You know, you need something with more void area. Obviously, you want a good compound. It's hard to know exactly what the compound is without trying it. And also, you don't want to put fresh tires out in the rain. Like if they're brand new and you've never scuffed them in, they are going to be a slippery mess for a while because the mold release compound is still on them and they're going to be terrible. So don't use fresh tires, but use full tread tires.
Scuff your wets on practice day.
Yep. Some examples that I can give you of tires that are great in the rain. The Continental Extreme Contact Sport is unbelievable in the rain. Like you can't believe how much you're still gripping even though it's raining. Michelin Pilot PS4s, similar. The Bridgestone RE71s are actually very good in the rain. Their compound is good and they have enough void area if they have enough tread left on them. So I wasn't a big fan of the Zenus in the rain. I didn't think they gripped all that well. They have that big outer shoulder block, doesn't do well. Same with the Rivals. So
the RE71 did really good at Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So
I like the Continentals on my Boxster when I did track days in it. Those were fantastic.
Hey, the Continentals that are on that extra wheels in your Mercedes got that thing to a 0.88 skid pad in the wet at one lap, which was good enough for sixth place.
Which we have a video of on our YouTube. It is impressive. The guy could not figure out what your resume was. It was hysterical.
That was the only time they ever talked about how great we were on that whole trip. That's okay.
So yeah, tires matter. Don't just put on whatever you got. Don't put on what you think did well in the dry. It's not going to work as well.
Can I wrap up everything about the car?
Please.
And then we'll turn to Chrissy.
Yeah.
Plan ahead.
Yeah.
Plan
okay.
ahead. Think about it's going to rain. Have everything in there. Have the Barbasol. Have windshield wipers. Have a place for the water to go. Have your mindset right. Know it's going to rain and have a plan for it. Go ahead, Chrissy.
Okay. Now, everything else that is not the car, you have to worry about when it rains because chances are you may or may not have an RV. You may or may not be in a garage. You may not have a tent. Your tent might have blown over like the one race that had 85 tents that they started as a success tent and they ended as a failure tent in a pile with all the rest of them. So let's talk about how to keep your crap dry and heat leaf a little bit less. Okay. Have a box fan. But also we're going to talk about later, keep your electricals out of puddles. But having a box fan can at least move
including your iPhone cord.
Right? Your iPhones. Don't put your phone on a table that has water on it or leave it there and forget that it's going to rain.
It'll get a social disease.
It both
ruins all the other phones.
I'm looking at half of you that had phones that died in the same weekend on the same table. But anyway, so you keep up with ponding water, especially if you have a garage. But here's the thing: a big ass squeegee. Chris bought it. Where did you buy? I said big ass squeegee.
It's a floor squeegee. Yeah.
Where did you get it?
Amazon.
So this is like a broom, it's exactly like a push broom, but it's a squeegee. It works really well trying to get pool water out of your garage, hot tub water out
of your garage. Yeah.
Yep, especially
Or
when
if your garage floods.
Yeah.
Well, that's why
anybody that ever worked at a grocery store knows exactly what she's talking about.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because after you'd have to mop, you'd have to squeegee.
Right? Yeah. So actually, our garage floods. That's why we have it. But it really works well. But also you can move the water away from a place that everybody's kind of walking in. And so the next thing about keeping your camp and pit, especially pit stuff, so your paper plates and your paper goods and your food and that kind of stuff, is putting everything in Tupperware boxes. So I usually keep our stuff in the Tupperware boxes, but we also have a couple in the basement, which, one of those things, like, it might be worth it to just bring some stuff in a Tupperware box, especially if you don't have the garage or you don't have an RV that can keep stuff that's going to be dry and it's going to rain. Put some stuff in there, hopefully fairly well organized, and they should not have cracks in them. We do have some that have Tupperware boxes that are like fine, but you're like, the lid doesn't really fit and they have cracks in the bottom. You're like, okay, if it's going to rain, that's not going to help you any. Yes, Chris.
Use one with a lid that goes over the sides of the top, not one of the ones with like the lids that kind of fold together like fingers, because it'll just leak right through that. It's got to have over the edge lid.
Good call. And if they usually have latches, or put something heavy on top of them, but that's probably helpful as well. So my next idea is bridges. So we've had some rainy pit experiences. We've been in dirt pits, so we had a really rainy race a couple of New Jersey races ago.
Not those kind of pits, Mental. Stop smelling yourself.
Right?
No. I've got two very needy dogs in my lap. I'm laughing because I remember exactly. She built a network. It was like a Robin Hood, village of.
You had to go right. You had to go the right
Hood village. It was all in my head as soon as you said Robin Hood.
Right. So we had to we use things for bridges because the paddock, especially if you're in a grassy or sandy or doesn't drain well.
New Jersey.
Right.
Even New Hampshire is uneven in the paddock. You get those giant puddles in New Hampshire.
And Thompson also, if you're anywhere but where we are near
There's
the garages.
Yeah.
Well, but it might be helpful when you have these deep levels. So basically, I'm using
CMP in a couple of weeks.
Right. So all of these places,
it's not going to rain. Don't worry.
You probably have trailer ramps, or somebody else does. We also have 2x8s, I think, what we decided, of pieces of wood to help the car, because cars so damn low, to get into the trailer. Things like this are great to be able to walk over, especially
Frogger. You're like,
right, when you're trying not to track all of this stuff, the water and mud and sand into different places. It's going to be helpful to try to put something over there. So use your trailer ramp. You can always wash it off later. And then make sure that you don't leave stuff on the ground. So when we go to bed, even if it's not going to rain, I try to put stuff in, especially like paper goods and paper plates, to try to put them in a box that's, I know, even if it's not going to rain or you don't think it's going to rain, it could always have dew and just kind of, be damp overnight.
Who lost their shoes? Didn't somebody's shoes float away?
I lost my flip-flop.
Matt did lose his shoe.
They definitely went away. I got mine stuck in the mud at New Jersey, like before the bridges were there. I stepped in the mud and it stuck into my flip-flop and it broke in the mud.
I remember somebody walking around with like one shoe on and one shoe off. Like
that's Matt.
That was Matt. My shoe floated away.
He also couldn't find his pants that morning.
Does he ever really know where his pants
Can't
are?
find my pants, Jeff. Yeah.
That's not an HR problem waiting to happen.
All right. So lastly, is just making sure that if you're going to have electrical that's going to still be out, making sure that the connections are not sitting in the ground in a puddle, because I thought that was just keep track of it all.
That's really good. You said something about box fan earlier, but you didn't go back to it. Were you going somewhere with that, or?
Well, it was more of like having it if you have garage space, or you have some kind of place that's flat, you squeegee it all, and then just kind of keep using the box fan to keep it all moving. I would just felt like that's probably a thing that's very helpful.
An air mover is way better than
that.
That's
the nail thing,
that are in the public bathrooms. You see those because they're right on the floor, and they move so much more air than the $20 box fan from the hardware store.
They're also good for inflating your bouncy house.
But they also accelerate evaporation, and like one of the things with Chrissy is when we get she wants all the water out of the garage because it's polished concrete, and you could just be walking across that thing and end up seeing your feet over your head right before the point of impact. And yeah, welcome to disability. So it's a good idea.
Somebody always threatened to build something that would dry our gear. Like my brother has always talked about, like, I'll build a box and it'll be positive pressure, and then we'll put our helmets on it, and then the helmets will get dry.
Instead, we just line everything up in front of the little air vent on the floor of Mental's RV, and we just keep rotating it. We're like, oh, these are just kind of like warm and wet now. I'll just wear these gloves. It's fine. They're not actually cold.
To get rid of moisture, you've got to have heat and air movement. Like that's what we deal with at work when people's basements get flooded, and you gotta figure that out is get the temperature up and get air moving.
I love that you say that. There was an article on Renlist, or a thread on Renlist, where a guy had built a helmet, glove, and boot dryer. And he actually published the plans, and just outside of my garage is a shelf that I rescued from Atlanta Motorsports Park, because I swear it's going to become
someday you're gonna build one.
Yes.
Go to Racer Image, buy yourself a second suit. That is the best rain advice I can give you.
I do want to throw some other stuff in here, and I want all of you guys to join in on this. This is just stuff that popped into my head. But the first thing, there's some additional stuff when you're at a race and it starts to rain that you need to bear in mind. Be in that zen spot that Jeff talked about, where nothing catches you by surprise. Listen to everything that Chrissy said, because if your pit is miserable, your race is going to be miserable. You can suck it up in a car if you know that you can come back to a warm, safe place. But the big thing on there is rain enhances stupid. We had the conversation about Camaros and Mustangs, and the folks that are attracted to Camaros and Mustangs, Fail Inc. excluded, because Fail Inc. understands that they make bad decisions and they know it. Is they just don't get it. They don't understand. Why can't I go as fast in this corner? Because there's an inch of standing water, you moron. So while you're happily in your zen place, watch for this guy that's running up in the inside, and he doesn't understand that he is not going to be able to go through that corner just as fast. Let him go. Let him go through, because again, you have a front row seat to hysterical when they just tear the lawn up out there. And there's some more stuff about what rain does to a race.
It's amazing how far you can go on wet grass. Like, you just keep going.
Can I throw out one more thing, and then maybe we'll get to Chrissy for the just the tip section of the day? Or is it?
No, it's not Chrissy.
Not Chrissy. Oh my gosh. I have one quick thing to say. There are certain groups out there that you're running with that might require a rain light. So check your rule book. Make sure you're running a rain light. I believe Champ Car is running rain lights. AER is running rain lights.
Definitely, yeah.
Also, just a good idea to have your rear tail lights on.
Yeah,
it is. It's a good idea. It just
leave your tail lights on. Like there was cars at Atlanta one year. They were like a black car, and you
can't see it.
Yeah.
So turn like that's why I left. Or
get a rain light, even if it's not required for your series. You can run a rain light.
Or just
they're cheap.
Leave the tail lights in your car and just turn them on.
Yeah.
I asked John Pagel. I said, I know we don't need a rain light, but what if I wanted to put one on? He says more lights on the back is always better. Do it.
Oh yeah, that fact on both of those. Yeah. You know, you've got the tail lights. You're not saving any weight taking out your tail lights. Just put your tail lights on.
If they're hard to replace though, like that, I'm running that with the Civic. Like I'm having a hard time finding tail lights, and we broke
trailer lights. Just put 2 trailer lights in it.
Seriously, put them out. Exactly. We'll mold some metal and put some bright LED lights back there. Anyone that has ever ridden a motorcycle, so that's 3 of us on this podcast, a light rain, or at the first part of a rain, every bit of oil, every bit of transmission fluid, every substance in your race car that is used to lubricate something has been expelled onto that racetrack. And when it first starts raining, it all floats to the surface because oil and water don't mix. So it is actually most slick when it first starts raining. Know where those corners are. Going under the bridge at NJMP on the non-dong course, is as you make that left, that's where everybody misses a downshift, blows their engine, and that whole track is always covered with
that's the Don course.
Okay,
That's
the Dom course. It's where everyone blows something, and every time it gets even. Actually, when it's dry, it's always slick in that corner. But know where those slick corners are before you get into that. When it starts raining for a while and you're going to racing, you're going to have these rivers that draining across the surface. And those rivers where flowing water is offer even less traction than just standing water, as I found out at pit race last year when I decided to take the Triumph through one of those flowing water things and discovered what Chris was talking about is, man, when I hit the wet grass, I think I picked up speed. I passed 2 cars while I was sliding on the grass on my way to the flag station that was easily 300 yards away. And I think I tapped the tires all the way at the end of it. Whenever everybody starts going off, when they come back onto the track, either towed or drive, they're bringing all sorts of awful stuff onto the track, and none of it's good. None of it helps you have traction. Big chunks of rocks, or they're going to be coming into the thing where you've got sod, or down in South Carolina, it's sand. In Georgia, it's red Georgia clay. None of this adds to your traction. So know the corners where everybody goes off and then where they're dragging stuff back on there. And then finally, the thing that Jeff talked about is puddles. You're going to have these big puddles, even after it's done raining. As cars pass through them, they are splitting the water. It goes at an angle, about 45 degrees on either side of those cars. Try to make sure, say, like, your window's not right there because you're going to get splashed.
Or at that point, just take it. Just know it's coming. I don't think you can avoid it.
Just back off. Go through the puddle a little bit further behind them.
Exactly.
And don't have it on your windshield to blind you, where it'll also, because then you'll be blinded and who knows what'll happen.
I'm blinded.
Right. Or at the very least, then when your wipers hit it, it's just going to go right in your driver's side window when they push it up over. So just let it settle down. Go through.
Last tip of the rain, everyone, from someone from New Jersey. When you go through the toll booth, turn off your wipers for the guy. He doesn't want to get wet.
There's nobody in toll booths anymore.
Oh, you're right. Never mind. It's COVID time. There's nobody in the toll booth anymore. Is it that time, everyone?
It is.
I feel like it is.
Just
tip. Yay.
So I was in Florida where 2 hurricanes were destined to meet for the first time ever at the same time. They realized that, oh God, if we mess up Chris's hair, we'll never hear the end of it. Let's just go to Texas. Two hurricanes go this.
Not this, Chris.
I'm sorry, Mental. Yeah,
Mental's actual name.
Yeah,
well, one of his actual.
Point the other way. He's top left.
Not in my screen.
Top left of you. There you go. There you go. Now you're doing it.
What I want to talk about is advocacy, and I don't mean in the social sense, but let's be honest, you absolutely should. This country would be a lot better off if we'd all start doing stuff like our mamas taught us to.
Advocacy for your hair, because that's where we started.
Oh, that's self-advocacy. But
okay.
Anyway, let's talk about safety. If you're listening to the show, there is a strong possibility that you're the gearhead, finger quotes, you're the gearhead at work.
Yep.
And people bring all of your dumb problem, or bring you all of their dumb problems.
Oh, Jeff, my Saturn Vue isn't working. It's only got 250,000 miles on it. Why won't it start? Saturn Vue?
When was the last time you changed your battery? Reagan was president. You know, that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So one of the great questions I got was, the mechanic told me my head gasket blew, but I took it in like 6 months ago for a transmission problem, and they should have known that was coming, right?
No, zipper head.
Yeah. You're the gearhead. So people bring you bad ideas, and if you want to like actually be social at work, you learn to suppress your absolute fear that, oh God, I share a freeway with this person. When I've told the story when I was a bus driver, one of the ladies in training, she's like, I don't mess around with tires. As soon as I see a steel cord, I replace them. Right. And I had to like, oh, how do I educate her and not come off like a jerk? People don't know what they don't know. And that's not their fault, and it's not your fault. And even though they ignore you when they come to you and they say, what car should I buy? And you say Camry, and then they go and buy, Dodge Dart because
Dodge Journey,
because it was blue. That's fine. You, as the representative of mechanical stuff, have a serious opportunity to make a good impact on their safety perceptions. And if you don't know what the safest option is when they come to you with like, hey, my roof is leaking. Hey, my back door is electrocuting my 12-year-old. Hey, we've installed lights so bright in our basement that planes are trying to land. These are things. Look it up. And if you can't find it, email us, get hold of social media. We know people who know stuff. We've got people that work the line. We've got plumbers. We've got all kinds of smart people that we're kind of networked in, and we will try and find you the best safety answer. And we have a safety professional on our staff. She's really, really good about this.
We're not going to say who it is, but she's awesome.
She's awesome. Here's why I say this. Whenever I'm about to do something, this relationship has been 10 years now. Whenever I'm about to do something stupid, like the other day, I had to change the battery in my carbon monoxide detector. So I grabbed the chair from Vicky's desk, which it pivots,
on wheels.
circles on wheels.
Yeah.
And I'm about to get up there and I hear Chrissy going, hey, safety, don't be, and I'm like, okay. And I take the extra 3 minutes and Jeff, just stop.
What?
Jeff is chair surfing.
I kind of hope he falls off because then I feel like
then it's on video. Yeah.
I know.
Yes,
Darn.
exactly. And I went and
great.
got the folding step ladder and I did it properly. Why am I saying all of this?
Because you like to hear yourself talk.
Okay. The other reason
Now
I'm
you see
saying
what I
all
was
of this.
dealing with.
Yeah.
The other reason I'm saying all this, half of the casualties from Hurricane Laura, half of the casualties from a Category 4 hurricane that made landfall and flooded right behind another hurricane are from carbon monoxide poisoning. Folks are running their generators indoors. Chris gave a great briefing about how you do these generators safely. And I wish more Louisiana listened. People do dumb things, not because they're evil, not because they deserve it, because we as a nation have lost that craftsman mentality that Jeff's grandfather and to a degree my grandfather and Chrissy's dad have possessed for years, and they're passing on. Not everybody has those skills. And if you're the gearhead, you have a chance to, God's honest truth, save somebody's life. People came to our pits because I can't see, and we had a solution, and we're doing it because it was the right thing to do. And folks are going to come to you with really, really bad ideas. Oh, hey, can I trim my tree outside my house with a chainsaw that I just duct taped to a pole?
Yes.
No, you can't.
Yes.
Go to
Video.
Hold my beer.
Yeah, hold my beer. Look, man, go to Harbor Freight. Here's this thing. It's like $50. Use it and then turn around and sell it on Facebook Marketplace. You'll be fine. Do things the safe way. So,
sorry. Get the music ready.
That's one way.
This is like when the NPR host.
Wrap it up. Yeah, exactly.
The
I'm
Oscars
getting
are
my
coming.
Academy Award. Yeah.
Wrap it up, Mental. No, I'm kidding.
You could be the
Sorta.
missing link between their craftsman grandparents and what they know now just by doing a little bit of research and advocating for safety. And we as a nation need you to do it. 8 people died from something unbelievably preventable, and that's a tragedy. That's it. That's my just the tip.
Safety.
Honestly, that's not a bad tip.
It is.
Yeah. Anyone have anything else for the good of the order? Anybody know what we're doing next week? No.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Maybe CMP 24 prep because
Oh.
3 of us are going to be there.
Not just CMP, but High Plains Raceway 24-hour prep.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I hear
Did
there's
you know?
there's like 10 guys doing that, I heard.
We'll talk about that next time.
Did you know that?
Thank you for downloading us. We hope you'll enjoy this week's edition of Everyone Racers. I hope you'll join us next week to hear the rest of Mental's story. We also hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer, even you. I'm pointing at the YouTube audience. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free. Go to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating, push the button there. Like it's right over, it's here somewhere. Subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit the bell. Even if you hate us, give us 5 stars. Tell us why. If you have any questions or show ideas, drop a comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers, or email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com. Find us on the Instagram or the Twitters or at everything else at everyone.racers. Thanks again, and until next week, keep the shiny side up. Unless it's all shiny because it's wet, then just keep the wheels down. As I search for the stop button.